Coming up, the last day of Tzu Chi's casual program in Kelantan, Malaysia is joined by 1,372 residents. We learn more about the problem of Taiwan's agriculture policy and industry to see how it affects the country's food self-sufficiency rates. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. We kick up the show in Malaysia, where cities along the Malaysian east coast continue to clean up after the worst flooding in 30 years. Over the past 2 weeks, Tzu Chi volunteers have continued to bring aid and hope through their cash over programs. The past Sunday, volunteers held their final cash over program in the state of Kelantan, in which 1,372 residents and 250 volunteers took part.
His two-story house warped by the floodwaters, Ismail has been essentially homeless since the floods here 2 weeks ago.
The waters were too high. I ran into the hills and could not get in touch with my family for a week. I had no charge on my cell phone. From the hills, I saw the entire school had flooded.
While in Manekurai, the township's 100-year-old bridge was blocked with debris cutting off access to the village of Pasir. Volunteers and cash for work participants made clearing the bridge a priority.
We are here for the cash for work program and to clean up this bridge. With the help of everyone from the village, we will have this mess cleaned up in no time.
In Manekurai Township, 250 volunteers and 1,372 residents took part in the cash for work efforts throughout the region. From heavy machinery to a simple shovel, the effort came in many forms.
I feel very happy now that the bridge is open. A big thanks to everyone who helped.
I thank the heavens and you volunteers for coming. Thank God for your help in cleaning up. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the residents of Manik Urai, I want to thank the Tzu Chi volunteers for coming here to assist us. This two-day cash for work program has truly helped us clean up our homes and our community. Thank you so much.
Volunteers also make it a point to bring care to those who need it.
It is not only helping the victims clean up, but also visiting them and bring them our love so they know that there are people who are looking out for them.
In the 2 weeks since the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers have been a constant companion in the rebuilding process here, and their love has given countless residents the hope and the means to rebuild towards a better future.
Knowing that many residents are currently without beds to sleep on due to the recent flood, volunteers in Kuala Korau distributed blankets, daily necessities, as well as the first batch of the Jingsi multi-purpose folding bed. Meanwhile, in Temerloh, following the cash reward program, volunteers returned once again, this time with medical supplies and the love of Tima volunteers.
Today, Kuala Korau is bustling with activity. Flood survivors are gathered outside the town hall awaiting the start of Tzu Chi's distribution. Since Tzu Chi launched the Cash for Work program here, the bond between volunteers and residents has only grown stronger by the day.
The east coast of Malaysia was hit by the worst flooding in history. Master Zeng in Taiwan has been concerned about the safety and well-being of the locals. She has appealed to all volunteers in Malaysia to mobilize and offer timely support and care.
Dipersilakan.
While medicine helps to relieve flood victims of their injuries, the Jingsi multi-purpose folding bed and relief items help them with their immediate needs.
I am very happy to receive these daily necessities. Thank you for all your assistance.
I'm so thankful for all your help. Thank you, Master Zeng Yan, for sending volunteers to our village, offering aid and support to our people. We are truly so grateful. We have never encountered such a big flood before, so we are all very thankful to Tzu Chi for coming to our rescue. Tzu Chi is the best. Thank you, Master Zeng Yan.
Tzu Chi's love in the form of aid has helped these disaster survivors walk out from under the clouds of despair. Volunteers even accompanied some residents home to show them how to operate the multi-purpose bed.
Thank you for giving us strength. You Chinese people reached out to us even when our own people didn't. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Tzu Chi volunteers help all people regardless of their race and regardless of their material wealth. They help whoever is in need. It brings tears to my eyes just talking about it. I want to become a volunteer like you in the future.
Apart from the relief items, what weighs heavier is the love and care of the volunteers. Devoting all their time and energy to cleaning up their homes, some residents have neglected their health in the process. Hoping to safeguard the well-being of residents during such trying times, Tzu Chi volunteers and 95 team members arrived with medical supplies and care.
Since we are holding a distribution today, and residents will be here to collect their aid and their multi-purpose folding bed, we decided we might as well hold a free clinic since everyone is gathered here.
In just half a day, the free clinic saw more than 600 participants. Despite the deluge of patients seeking medical treatment, medical personnel, however, greeted everyone with their usual warmth and kindness, while another group of team of volunteers are bringing healthcare right to the residents' doorsteps.
I usually go to Dr. Lee. He said there isn't much he can do to relieve the pain. I already finished my medication and his clinic isn't open today. It was also closed yesterday as well.
Some residents have limited mobility, so they are reluctant to go to see a doctor. So we arranged for 2 teams of medical personnel to come here instead and provide medical assistance.
While it takes time to visit each household door to door, volunteers nonetheless found the experience spiritually rewarding.
I worked here really late last night and only got home at around midnight. I slept for 2 hours and came straight here. I feel like what we're doing is really meaningful, and it has been a while since I joined Team of Volunteers on a medical mission. I hope this volunteer work can light up my passion to make a difference in society. Elderly people are prone to illnesses, so we shouldn't lose our patience with them just because they are hard of hearing. We should take time to explain their condition to them. If we grow impatient, it will frighten them off, and they won't want to go to the hospital in the future.
Helping these residents get back on their feet through material assistance and emotional support, there is no cure better for the heart than the power of love.
In the state of Pahang, Malaysia, close to 200 Kuala Lumpur volunteers have been bringing care and aid to residents in affected communities in the hopes that such aid will speed up the rebuilding process one family at a time.
Following the floods that left her home devastated, Roslisa now has no choice but to sleep in her living room.
My blood pressure has shot up since the floods. Why? So many problems. My house has become like this, and I worry about paying for the children's tuition.
A single mother, Roslisa worked as a seamstress for a living. However, she lost her tools in the flood and has now been out of work for 3 weeks.
She needed 210 ringgits to fix her sewing machine, so we first gave her some emergency consolation cash to fix it. Later, we will talk about other forms of assistance.
In the state of Pahang, many families find themselves in situations similar to Roslisa's. Therefore, in addition to cash for work programs, 200 volunteers have been visiting those hit hardest by the floods and bringing much needed aid in their wake.
Before, we slept on the floor of the shelter, which left my back in agony. Now I have a bed, so I don't have to sleep on the floor anymore.
The care of the volunteers transcends race and faith and has inspired several to join Tzu Chi themselves.
Because we are in this situation, so maybe in the next day or next weeks, we don't know, maybe some other people need our help. So I would like to join the Tzu Chi group to help the other people.
Here in Malaysia, replacing pain with joy and desperation with hope, Tzu Chi has shown that with love, anything is possible.
The recent flooding in Malaysia has troubled even the younger residents of Malaysia, as they may not know how to help those suffering from the disaster. Looking to adults for an example, young volunteers in Malacca headed out to the streets with their parents to canvass for donations, while those in Penang put their blessings down in drawing.
The students from Malaysia's Tzu Chi Academy in Penang draw their hopes and dreams for the new year.
你这里画的是什么？
送饭，
送什么饭给他们？
香鸡饭，
这些饭是要送给谁？
送给水灾的人，因为他们没有饭吃。我希望吉兰丹可以有屋子可以住，不会又再有水灾。
The massive flooding in Malaysia has united the citizens of the country. No matter their age, race, or creed, residents band together and donate to Tzu Chi to help disaster survivors get through the tough days ahead.
Because I want to help the disaster survivors.
Those in Malacca also donate to the good cause.
I want to help the disaster survivors. We are all Malaysian.
If those who are safe and sound just sit at home not caring about others, who can those suffering turn to?
This disaster has inspired many to give a bit of their love, setting an excellent example for the younger generation.
Since joining WTO, Taiwan has seen a surge in imported food items as imports rely on mass production and modern technology to lower costs and sustain quality. Taiwan's farmers who continue to produce inefficient yields and costly crops simply could not compete. Thus, currently some 200,000 hectares of the nation's farmland now lies fallow. To rectify the problem, the Council of Agriculture is offering incentives to farmers who want to grow grain crops. Yet, thus far, the program hasn't been very effective. We're now trying to understand the problem of Taiwan's agriculture policy and industry.
In Zitong Yunling, a field of ripe rice has turned golden yellow and is ready to be harvested. This is a part of Taiwan's effort to revive fallow farmland.
About 200,000 hectares of the nation's farmland is currently not in use. In the first year of our program, our goal was to revive some 31,000 hectares, where 65% of the land was used to grow crops. This year, we should reach some 90%.
Between 1960 and 1970, about 450,000 hectares of Taiwan's farmland was used to grow grains. However, that number has declined to the current 60,000 hectares. This is due to the import of cheaper grains from abroad, which subsequently reduced the country's food self-sufficiency rate, a problem that the government would like to rectify.
Our grain self-sufficiency rate is only 32%. The other 70% come from the import of soybeans, corns, and grains. With such heavy domestic demand, we should focus on tackling grains first.
After learning there were government incentives available, many farmers have returned to their farm. 40-year-old Zheng Yunzhu only started farming again 2 years ago.
Many people are now planting sesame, peanut, and corn. With the way the government has structured its program, some began growing new crops after the first season and others earlier.
66-year-old Wu Jingfeng, who is harvesting her peanuts, says for centuries, farmers have alternated between growing rice and other grain crops to give their land time to recover and to keep farmers busy.
If a field is not in use, pests and rats will nest there and feed on nearby crops, which will affect our harvest.
Farmers who grow non-rice grain crops will be subsidized by the government. Though on paper this will increase Taiwan's food self-sufficiency rate, in reality the products are still not attractive to consumers.
Cost-wise, because of the way our farmers grow their crops, they just can't compete with imports, which are mass-produced to lower costs. So domestic crops still can't compete with imports.
When the government first initiated its program, everyone just started growing the same crop. There should be some planning. 3 years ago, it was way too much corn. This year, it looks like everyone is growing sesame.
The government should also help organize the farmers and assign the crops they are to grow according to the climate and characteristics of each region.
We must utilize advancements in technology and think smart so farmers can make a profit. This is especially true for the next generation of farmers, who must think strategically instead of simply working in the field.
Scholars suggest that government must conduct an overall analysis on the nation's farmland and come up with a refined strategy that can breathe new life into fallow farmland instead of coming up with short-term solutions. After all, what good are crops if no one wants to buy them?
Next, we travel to Yilan County, Taiwan to meet two Tzu Chi volunteers and see how watching Master Cheng Yin's wisdom at dawn broadcast inspired them to walk steadfast on the Bodhisattva path. But first, we go to the Tzu Chi Luodong Liaison office, where Master Cheng Yin encouraged everyone to safeguard the planet by practicing recycling. At the Tzu Chi Luodong Liaison office, some 800 volunteers gathered together to welcome Master Cheng Yin. Inside the venue, volunteers showcased the words of wisdom they have written down after watching the Master's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast.
We need to listen to Master Cheng Yin's teaching.
80-year-old Tzu Chi volunteer Gang Wan shares her experience after watching the broadcast.
Everyone, please remember to get up early to watch Master Cheng Yin's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast. It is good for our bodies and minds.
The Masters also takes a moment to thank the recycling volunteers for their dedication in protecting the planet.
环保菩萨啦，平时就是伫咧造福啊，造福，就为大地呢，咱伫咧付出吼，这个大地。
Presenting the blessing and wisdom red envelopes to her disciples, the Masters hopes everyone can continue their good work in safeguarding our Mother Earth.
I get up around 3:15 a.m. every day. After I get up, I will offer tea and incense to the Buddha. If I still have time, I will chant a Buddhist scripture for about 20 to 30 minutes.
Before 4 o'clock in the morning, Gan sets out to begin her date at the local Tzu Chi recycling station. Despite the darkness, Gan says she is not afraid because the street lights and her flashlight band keeps her safe.
The Master and I are both old. I want to listen to Master Cheng Yin's teaching, so I need to be determined and work even harder. It is about 4:10 when I arrive at the recycling station.
After arriving at the recycling station, Gang Wan will wait for her counterparts and together set up the venue before the broadcast begins. In spite of being illiterate, Gan's determination to follow the Master's footsteps has never faltered.
I am illiterate, but I will try my best to follow the chanting of the scripture. I am determined to work even harder. I need to make sure I don't sleep in, so I can continue to absorb the Master's words of wisdom.
Before dawn, Tzu Chi volunteers Guo Huang Mei and Zhang Su Qing are ready to begin their day.
Sister Tzu Chi picks me up at 4 a.m. every day, and together we'll watch the Wisdom at Dawn broadcast at the local Tzu Chi Liaison office.
I still remember Sister Guo Huang was very sad when I visited her in 2013. She couldn't walk properly, so she was extremely depressed. She kept saying that she was no good and useless.
Due to severe degradation in her legs, Guo Huang Mei, who had been a part of the Tzu Chi family for more than 20 years, was forced to temporarily put aside her volunteer duties. Without volunteering, Guo Huang suddenly lost her purpose in life. Thankfully, with the support of her Dharma family, Guo Huang has rediscovered happiness.
Whenever we have a study session, she always makes sure to attend. Wherever I go, she will go with me. We are not walking alone on the Bodhisattva path.
I need to work even harder. I will keep up and watch the Master's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast until my last breath.
In British Columbia, Canada, for the past 4 years, Tzu Chi volunteers in Vancouver have been caring for those staying at the London Hotel. As most of the tenants live below the poverty line, Tzu Chi volunteers thoughtfully prepare items to help them brave the cold. volunteers visit residents door to door with smiles and warm greetings. For the past 4 years, Tzu Chi volunteers in Vancouver, Canada have been caring for the poor living at the Luodong Hotel. This year, the volunteers have returned to the hotel with gifts to help residents brave the harsh winter.
Good times always come from good hearts.
Besides offering material aid, the volunteers also encourage each tenant with Master Zheng Yan's words of wisdom.
I thank the Tzu Chi Foundation for bringing gifts to the London Hotel that brings a special feeling to our tenants. It makes them feel better because they get gifts, for the Christmas season. Because there's a lot of people out there still that don't receive gifts and that are homeless, right?
With their hearts and bodies now filled with drama joy, the tenants of the Luodong Hotel are sure to one day also join the volunteers' ranks and help those in need. Conjoined twins Jenny Lin and Jerry Lin from the Philippines arrived on the 9th in Hualien, Taiwan, accompanied by their mother and Tzu Chi volunteers. Forming a team to evaluate the separation surgery, the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital is making sure every detail is looked after before the actual operation starts.
Traveling from the Philippines to Taiwan, the mother of conjoined twins, Jenilyn and Geraldine, carefully hands over her twins to the doctors at Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital. Finally arriving at the patient's bedside, the first task for the medical team is to recognize which twin is which, as the two look extremely alike. As the children are suffering from a cold, the doctors quickly check their condition. Thankfully, the virus has not reached their lungs. It's this type of loving care from Tzu Chi that comforts mother Ludi de Guzman. Through a sonogram scan, the medical team discovers that the girls have their own individual internal organs, except they share a liver.
Their aorta isn't shared, only the liver. The rest of the organs are separated. It looks like each twin has their own organ system. In terms of separation surgery, this is easier to carry out.
Director of the Plastic Surgery Department, Li Junda, personally came to measure the girls, as later a skin expander will be placed in the girl's abdomen. More examinations are scheduled and needed to ensure the girl's separation surgery can be carried out smoothly.
We go to Nias, Indonesia at the end of the show, where Tzu Chi volunteers brought warmth and happiness to children staying at the local orphanage. During their visits, the volunteers not only played games with children, but also offered words of encouragement. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.